My favorite thing is seeing whatever Denson's TV is gonna play.
I feel like it's usually some sort of like Survivor mix.
Huzzah! And welcome to the Senate, where one of you will be sentenced to fight to the death in the Colosseum. So, let's start with you, William. William, you have the best read on what is going on in this Legion. Talk to us about your insights. What was your strategy going into touchy subjects?
Um, I think beyond just taking that wonderful power nap beforehand to really revitalize my strength and determination for the challenge, I think it was also inferring clues based on how I perceive other people would vote, based on just like funny things. Like the first one, I knew people were going to vote me for that. It's fine. Latin's a dead language. I'm not dumb. I know, but things like that, or just perceived power structures. But I think that game is such like people try to game it too hard. And so like the first round, people are voting what they think people are gonna say instead of their honest opinion. So it's honestly just a crapshoot at the end of the day, and it can be really telling if everyone's completely honest in their voting. But I don't know if that ever happens. So it's kind of a crapshoot, and it's a guessing game at the end of the day. And I luckily guessed. So.
So, Lyndon, William brings up a good point that this game can be very telling. Do you think that touchy subjects had an impact on how this round is playing out at all?
I I don't know. I don't think entirely because I mean if you look at it, four people were voted the goat. So therefore there's not a goat. Like goats rise up, let's go. But if there's four of you, clearly there's a split. That's not a real thing. So there's things like that where you just kind of have to take it out because you can't actually look at that and take it as a legitimate thing in this setting. But I do feel like there are some that people will keep in mind. I don't feel like I've ever seen somebody act on it immediately, though. I feel like people kind of think about touchy subjects later, if at all.
So, Juan, Lyndon did bring up that a lot of people got nominated for who is the biggest goat. Now, is that indicative of this Legion having no true trajectory?
Can you repeat that one more time? I think I understood, but I just need to hear it one
Yeah.
more.
So, what if, we're assuming that people decided that the GOAT would be the person most likely to want to bring further along in the game, or it could be greatest of all time, however you wanted to interpret that. Um, with there being four of the nine of you chosen, does that mean that as a whole, this Legion has no idea what they're doing and what direction this game is going in?
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I just think if you look at it like this, it's the merge, and I think everyone has different views on the game, and I think that's kind of why it was split. Like there is not one singular person that everybody thinks is a certain thing when it comes to that. So I definitely think people are coming into this merge situation now that we've been two rounds in, looking at it personally, I guess. And I guess that's again, that would explain why it was a tie between four people with only being nine people. So it again, I don't think that's the case. I think everyone here has a clear vision of what they want to do for themselves. And I think that showed in touchy subjects.
Now, Sean, you didn't really get nominated for anything super polarizing, you know, likely to join Prod, likely to get a no from Randy Jackson. So, but what does that say about where your position is in this Legion?
Um, that's a good question. I feel like I'm just, you know, a body floating on water, waiting to be taken onto an island. Um, but I guess at the same time, it's nice to be voted for things that aren't like negatively or positively impacting the game. So yay me.
Nova, when you hear that Sean is a body just floating in the water, is that somebody that you want to pick up and align with? Or do you want to allow them to continue to sail out like driftwood?
I definitely think when someone's kind of floating or feels like they're floating, it is like a great opportunity to be like, hey, but like, I don't know, I think everyone has felt a little bit like they're floating or like a little bit like they're not sure where things are going.
Now, Andrew, as nominated as most likely to win the season, people clearly don't think you're floating in this game. How does that impact your maneuvering going forward?
I don't know if anyone said this or not. And anyone that I've talked to today, I've said the exact same thing. Touchy Subject is made to one, make people paranoid about what's going on, what's going to happen to them, but two, make them paranoid about other people in the game. When I play Touchy Subjects, I'm just trying to win. So I try not to look at those answers as anything other than that's the way that this person felt in that moment. And if someone was to perceive me as the potential winner, it's like, okay, cool. And then I go out here, and all of a sudden, touchy subjects really means nothing. So I feel like people can sometimes look way too into it when in reality we need to be focusing on what's actually happening in the game. And what's actually happening in the game is I didn't know about most things going on until 8, maybe 8:30. Um, and I don't know if there were things going on before that point, but like I definitely felt like I was floating today. Um, and I'm hoping that what I've been told is correct. And if not, once again, I could go and then all of a sudden nobody's answers mean anything.
Kevin, Andrew brings up that nothing really seemed to have come about until about 8:30 Eastern time today. Does that ring true for you? Did the game really start to pick up the pace just at 8:30, which is 3 hours ago? 2
I
hours
would
ago?
have to I would have to say, at least for me, not as much, I guess. I mean, I there's things that you know uh I tried talking to people about or tried to bring up things. And it's not like I was met with like silence or anything, but most of the day, for sure, until that time, there were crickets. Or, I possibly could have just not been a part of the conversation. Which, I mean, not anyone's fault, but mine possibly.
Vicky, are you awake?
I wish I wasn't.
Vicky, so does the length of time between the results of the challenge and the Senate, does that play a factor? So you had almost 24 hours to really plot and scheme and negotiate and decide what to do. But it seems like from what I'm hearing, activity didn't really start to pick up until recently. How does that impact the game?
I think it's a common trend throughout all of these games that activity doesn't actually pick up until like an hour, 30 minutes before tribal. That's when people feel comfortable enough or paranoid enough to actually go out there and talk to people and just be like, hey, yeah. So I think it's a common trend. Um, but again, people have lives, people have work, they have jobs, they have things that they need to do. So I don't know if it impacts the game so much as people are just people and they're busy. So they find time when they need.
William, Vicky brought up comfort. Now, as the person with immunity, does that make you more comfortable to want to say a name, or does that allow you to not have to say a name?
I think it depends on the position in the round. I, especially after the touchy subjects game, like whatever we want to read into it, whatever we want to do, my name did come up a few times in some different areas. And so I took that as a sign of like, I might be putting myself out there too much and need to take a step back this round and just kind of show that I can be in the group as well. I don't have to have a voice all the time. It's pushing so hard. So I think that it depends. And I think I used this round to really listen and kind of take in information and what I was able to get. And hopefully using that listening to build better relationships with the information that I was able to receive.
London, this is the first time that any member of OG Romulus has now entered a Senate after having gone to a Senate. Now that trusts have been either broken or formed, do you notice a difference in this round from the waiting for the game to start from the prior round?
Yes. Sorry, a creeper just exploded on me. Can you repeat the question?
Now that you have been to a Senate as a member of OG Romulus, you get to go into another Senate knowing whether or not trusts have been broken or trusts have been formed. Does that make this round? How does that change the dynamic for this round? Question.
I don't know, because it was live night and live night is chaos and wild. So like even like we're a little more solid in what we're doing and like who you can trust and everything, but I'd say it's still not like this is a normal round, a normal vote kind of thing. And I feel like this is going to be a lot more of like a first step for everyone to figure out kind of their falling over anything else.
Juan, let's talk about the effects of the Colosseum. Does knowing that whoever goes here and in the next several rounds are going to go to the Colosseum to then have a chance to fight to get back, does that affect how you vote?
I definitely think it's a factor in the game. Now, affecting how people vote in general, or if you're talking about me personally, I mean, again, it's part of the game. I think it's something that everyone's going to think about and, ask yourself, oh, someone has to come back eventually. How is that going to affect everything moving forward? So, I mean, if I have to put a percentage to it, I would say like I don't even know what number I would give it, but I would say it's definitely something that is probably thought about because it's a factor of the game. There has to be Coliseum battles, and if there's somehow some way that you can affect that or have that, I suck at talking. Why do you ask me these weird questions? But no, I definitely think it's a part of the game, and people think about it, but I don't know how much it affects everybody's vote.
So, Sean, if the Colosseum isn't necessarily affecting the way that people vote, how are people affected by what happens in the Colosseum?
Child, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask this because I have yet to be voted out. We'll see tonight, maybe moving forward. I don't know.
But you are the only one that's been to every Senate. You are the most expert on sending people to the Colosseum.
I mean, it's part of the game, you know. Like, I guess at this point, it's a matter of like your bonds and how much you can trust the people you talk to and be with. You know, I personally, it doesn't really affect me. Does it affect the people in the Coliseum? Probably because they can compare notes, and then whoever comes back has those um, information to spread around and cause more chaos or paranoia within everyone else in the game.
And so, Nova, that's an excellent point. Are you nervous about the paranoia that could be caused from what happens in the Colosseum, or is that way too far in the future to even think about?
I get people being worried about it, but for me, it's really far in the future, and you can't play the game thinking about Final Six right now. Like, you need to think about this round. And it's hard for us to say what would even happen in the Coliseum, and I just don't think it's good to dwell about now when it's so far away and so many factors are going into it.
Now, Andrew, we saw a lot of idols come out at the last Senate. So, what are the talks of the various idols and advantages that could play a factor at this Senate or any Senate going further?
Well, so far we haven't seen any new clues to uh, a put back into game merge idol, which we kind of know slash assume was the one that Juan played last time. Which, by my count, means publicly people know about two advantages in this game. One of them being a half idol, and the other one being an extra vote. I feel like if today has been as hectic as it has been for me, we could see both. But at the end of the day, you never know what actually might be hiding out there. So, like, for all I know, yeah, I can say, oh yeah, publicly there are two, when in reality there could be like six. And I don't think anyone, maybe, I don't think anyone knew about Juan's last time, and he played it very well. So, like, I think that if we do see something else, we can also sit there and applaud them and be like, way to go. Um, so I think that answers your question. I would not be shocked if one or two advantages get played, but also there could be zero. I don't know.
Juan, your name was invoked in this scenario. We'll come back to our circle, but do you want to respond?
I will say with the whole idol thing, I was tired. I'd had 2 whole days in a park. I was just wanting to go to sleep and didn't want to have the dramatics, so that's all it was. But yeah, no, when it comes to advantages and whatnot, I mean that's a factor of Survivor. You just have to always expect what you don't know, and sometimes what you don't know, expect it to be something else. I don't know. If they come out, I have nothing, like my sleeves or they're short today. There's nothing here. So
Kevin, Andrew brought up the possibility of possibly being extra votes. Does that change the amount of numbers that you need to get when going ahead and casting a vote for tonight?
Uh, I don't know. I guess if it's extra, like, wouldn't that mean you would need less votes? You need to talk to less people. That going along with, if you even know someone has this extra vote, because I haven't heard of anything, so you know what I mean.
Hmm. And Vicky, what should everybody remember when going up to vote tonight? What is the lesson we should learn out of tonight's Senate?
This is just a game. I love you all. Y'all are amazing. We're here for a fun time, not a long time. I'm way up. I feel blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. And now it is about time to find out whose fun time will no longer be time. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to mute myself while I am away. You may feel free to talk about anything except for this vote and the game. And when I come back, somebody else will be sentenced to fight to the death in the Coliseum.
I'd like to shout out my podcast, Grace, Jackie, and Derek. Love y'all.
I would like to shout out my podcast. Wait, I swear to God. Vanessa. That's a whole nother conversation. Vanessa, Haley, and my dad. Love you all.
Your dad's in your prod chat?
My org dad.
Oh,
Yes.
I was
My
like,
org dad is in my project.
I said, oh, okay.
That was the best reaction.
I'd like to shout out my prod chat guest. No one. Thank you for being there for me, myself. I really get myself through these difficult times. So thank you to me.
I would also like to shout out my prod guests. All three of their names start with J. And I didn't even plan that. That just happened. So shout out to all three of my spectacular J names.
Oh, there are actually people in there. I thought you were just making a joke about yourself.
Would you like a prod guest, William? We could recruit one for you.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm not. I don't care. I just think it's funny that everyone's shouting them out.
He's independent. Shout out prod guest, Kevin, Leah. I always forget how to say this name. Marcelo,
Period.
guys are great.
Shout out to Cam and Keaton. Keaton beat my loop over score today, and I'm mad at him. I just think if anybody can beat 17 seconds, please let me know.
What's loop over?
It's a game.
It's like a
Shout out.
slide puzzle with
Oh,
the
I
alphabet.
never said their names, but shout out to Jake, John, and Jess. Yes.
My podcasts are fine. I love them all. They know how I feel about them.
And shout out to Chanel because she's that girl. I don't know if she's watching, but she probably is not.
Shout out to my prod guest Catboy because I was sad and didn't have food and he DoorDashed me Wingstop.
Aw.
She has so much food, you guys.
I have so much food.
They have so much food over there. Like this cat
He-
boy.
So
he's-
much food.
Wingstop.
Honestly, can I
That's the
tell
one you
you
want.
my conspiracy theory that all because you said this person is a furry, right, Nova?
Yes, he is
I think
a
all furries are rich. I don't know how, and I don't know why.
No, because to
but
make
they're
the
all
fursuit,
rich.
fursuits
Awesome.
cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So they're all fucking engineers.
Yeah, they're all
It
rich.
has to be. There's no other option.
Those things aren't cheap.
Or
What I'm
sugar
hearing is
daddies.
I need to become a furry, so then I
Yes.
can become rich. Because I think they're mutually what's
I
it called?
mean, I feel like,
Offended.
Symbiotic.
I feel
Yeah.
like one definitely comes before the other, but you could.
I'm just a broke furry with a really sad tail and one ear. You know?
Shout out to Pete. He's just a puppy. He's
Shout out
just
to
We
a
have to
dog.
see the puppy.
Speaking of dog, I've got Bronx from daycare today. He enjoyed his time.
Aw, did he make any friends?
Probably. He's been asleep since he came back. Like, they wear his ass out.
Oh, damn.
But he will be going back to daycare in like 2 days when I have to go other places.
He's like, I got new friends.
He loves daycare.
Oh, shout out to Cowboy because he's a new dog that I have acquired now. And by me, I mean the pillow that I'm on right now. But like shout out to Cowboy. Thank you. He's a dog, by the way, not a person. Kind of.
Is this your own version of Catboy? Or is this the same person?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. Shout out to Debbie.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Debbie.
Debbie.
I have the votes. Once the votes are read, the decision is final. The person with the most votes will have been sentenced to fight to the death in the Coliseum. They'll have a moment to speak their piece, and then they must leave the Zoom immediately. But before I read the votes, if anybody has a hidden immunity idol or any other relevant advantage that they would like to play, now is the time to do so. Okay, I will read the votes. First vote. Kevin. Kevin. 2 votes, Kevin. Vicky. Vicky. 2 votes, Kevin. 2 votes, Vicky. Kevin. 3 votes, Kevin. Vicky. 3 votes, Vicky. Kevin. It's 4 votes, Kevin. Next person sentenced to fight to the death in the Colosseum is Kevin. Kevin, that is enough.
Thanks. Good game again, guys. Y'all are great. Bye. I don't have a great long outro this time, but love you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. You have now sentenced another gladiator to fight to the death in the Colosseum. It's going to get harder from here.